Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pets or Family. I'm Tricia Montgomery, along with
Jessica Abernathy,
your host for this fun and informative video podcast, where we talk about the real issues that matter to you as pet parents and way more. How do you make your pets feel like family? Hey, Jessica, we are back. And I just have to say, we're back, but we're not in black.
Nope, we're not. You're doing a little bit of red and I'm doing a little bit of blue.
Pop color. And it also shows kind of our geographical differences because you're cold in Chicago and I'm a little bit warm here in the southern states, Florida and Georgia both. So yeah, how are you?
I'm good, but you know what? I'm always cold. I could be in Florida and I would still be cold. I would still have a long sleeve shirt on. I mean, you're going to find this out about me as you go along. I'm always cold. I always have a hoodie on or a sweatshirt or a sweater. I'm freezing all the time. I'm that weirdo.
That's crazy. So you could be like, if you were a dog, you would always have a fur coat on. So if you could be any dog, what kind of dog would you be? Because you'd have to be one that was very furry, like a Burmese mountain dog. What kind of dog would you be that had? So
I already know what I would be. I already had it in my head. I was just waiting for you to finish that sentence. I'd be an Old English.
Really?
Yep. I grew up with Old Englishes. My first one was at a baby. Tanya was her name. And then Tanya was her name. And then I got one for my 16th birthday and her name was Misty. But I've had Old Englishes all my life. And then my next one was a Shih Tzu, Teddy. I just went from a big one to a little one. But yeah, I love Old Englishes. They're my faves.
My parents had, when I was growing up, I had two old English sheepdogs. One was named the Dirty Duke of Bug Tussle. So yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? Those names, those long AKC names that they have associated with that.
Yeah,
so,
that is great.
Yeah, I would actually be a basset hound.
Really?
I'd be a basset hound. Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? You time in a knot, you time in a bow. I just want to be able to put those dogs are just like, ho-de-do.
I have to say, one of my favorite clients was a basset hound. His name was Luigi. And I have to tell you, Luigi was the drama queen that I have ever. I mean, he was the most dramatic dog I've ever met in my whole entire life. I have never met a dog as dramatic as him. He would walk in the house, and if it was just like too cold or we put him out, he'd strut his little, self in the house, and he would just look at you and he'd go, and he would like literally jump up in the air, and he would like literally fall on his side and go, like it was a big thing. He could open anything, and when I say anything, he got a hold of a Nutella jar. And I hopefully said that because I don't eat that stuff, but he got a hold of a Nutella jar. He opened it himself with his mouth. I mean, we're not talking like chewed it. We're talking twisted it open. And he literally licked it except for this little bit of the bottom of the jar, which you can't see. There you go. That much of the bottom of the jar, because that was the only part his tongue couldn't hit.
Oh my gosh.
He would unzip your backpack, and if you had something in there, he would eat it. It had to be behind closed doors, sealed. Like he was the best. I mean, like he ate coffee beans. Somebody had given us coffee beans, wrapped for Christmas, right? So I had no idea there were coffee beans, but of course you have Christmas gifts under your tree, right? Came back, there was coffee beans all over the house. And obviously I think he ate some. If not, he definitely licked a ton of them because they were spit out all over the place. That poor dog had the zooms. Like there was no problem. He was just like, zzz, zzz. Anyway, love Luigi. He's like my favorite.
Okay, so a basset hound story. So I used to have a basset hound named Louis. So one time we were having some people over to eat, and I had made a beautiful cheese ball, absolutely beautiful cheese ball, had everything just laid out, on the table, everything like that. I went upstairs. I don't know what I was doing. And then all of a sudden I'm like the cheese ball. And then I heard commotion down the stairs. I'm like, he's got the cheese, ran down the stairs, go down the stairs. And there is Louis. he's got the cheese ball in his mouth, like just lodged in his mouth. I literally rip it out of his mouth. And I'm like, I have no time. I washed the cheese ball, I patted it, and I re-rolled it in nuts. And so we called him Cheese Ball Louie. But then everybody came over to our house. Like, oh, this is the best cheese ball ever.
Did you eat it?
I did not. They did. They said it was the best cheese ball they ever had. Just don't ever come over to my house and eat something because it might have been in a dog's mouth.
That's great. Those people now are going to be like, oh, Trisha. They're going to be dying. No.
There you go. What the heck? Oh my gosh. So Jessica, you mentioned Tanya, but I don't know. What a way to, this is me. What a way to start off a podcast.
Right.
You mentioned Tanya. We're talking to Tanya Hart today. She's the CEO of Augie Bones, which is a brand new plant-based, sustainable, non-toxic, biodegradable dog chew toy, Augie Bones. And they're powered by Titan Bioplastics, which is a material engineering company. She is an innovator. She is just an incredible business development person. And she's really saw something within our world, the industry, that years ago and has begun working on this and now has introduced us into the pet industry. Before she comes on to join us, I want to talk about sustainability and the pet industry. Gosh, there hasn't been a lot within the pet. I know there's UN mandates by 2025, but let's talk about that. What do you know about that?
There's not much to talk about. I hate to say that, but our industry is going to be, I don't want to say the last, but it's just our industry is slowly getting into it.
Yeah.
Really?
I think for years we talked about, and the nutrition industry from a standpoint of the food that we put in is slowly catching up. You've got all these healthier options for our pets, whether it's fresh-based foods. You've got the litany of brands from Spot & Tango, Nom Nom, Just Food for Dogs, Fresh Pets, all these different brands. They're out there now. And many of the larger organizations and companies like Mars and Purina and Hills, they're all coming up with their own brands of food. And I think that sector of our industry is finally really grasping that and saying, we need to do better. We need to feed our pets healthier. But no one's talking about what the toys that they're putting in their mouths, the saliva, what we're doing to the planet itself. And I know on this podcast, we've got a couple of guests. I think your friend Jennifer is going to be coming on next on sustainability. Talk a little bit about that before Tanya joins us.
So she's going to be joining us because she's got one of the only landfill biodegradable poop bags, which all of our poop bags here wind up in a landfill. And, the ones that are out there that are biodegradable, they actually have to be exposed to sunlight. And our poop bags, all of them wind up in a landfill. So they're not breaking down. So even though you think that you're doing good, you really aren't doing good because they're not breaking down because they're in a landfill. Whereas Jennifer has bags that are, because hers are biodegradable in landfills, which a lot of people don't realize that. And that's just an education thing. And, and that's something we're talking about because, one of the things that we forgot to mention, because we're also human, which I bring up often because I make mistakes all the time, but it's Earth Month. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about April's Earth Month. So these folks that are, working on this fun stuff, this is their month. It's like Christmas for them, so this is their month to talk about this fun stuff.
Yeah, sustainability, Earth Month. And I think that these companies that we're talking to and these people and individuals, they're not just talking about it on, Earth Day, Earth Month. This is their life and their passions. So excited to get this one started.
Oh, yeah. Jen's always working with me because I'm like, recycle? Okay. I think she was the one that taught me how to recycle, or she still is. She works on it on a regular with me, make sure I have little pictures on my trash can to make sure I know which goes where and stuff like that, so that I'm always working on it. So yeah, she's good about that.
I think some people have thought that if I just paint something green or if I put green around it, then that is green. I've gone green, which
Right.
is certainly not the case at all. Right. Yeah.
No, and I've been in the pet sitting industry for a long time, you know what I mean, as you know. And one of the things that, as in the pet sitting industry, the way we're trying to go green is that we're trying to get rid of the paper, because a lot of times in the past we've always had paper contracts, we've had, you know, all the paper that we have to do, and we're trying to go electronic, which is the best way we can do. And that's one of the ways we can go green, is by, you know, doing everything electronically, so that way there is no paper, you know, we can file everything in the cloud, and you know, everybody accepts that, which is great, and that's a great way for us to be able to go green. And you know, a lot of the pet sitting companies are trying to use biodegradable poop bags and stuff like that, so that way we can say that we're a green company to help, you know, support the earth and all that fun stuff.
Right. I think it starts with one and it becomes a movement. I mean, because when one person finds out about it and you tell another person about it, then it becomes this moving force. And as Tanya talks about, being the rising tide that floats all boats. And I think it's changing the pet industry, changing how pet parents think about sustainability, because this is our world, this is our planet. What kind of future are we leaving for our children, for the next generations to come? And are they going to have anything left because we've made such a mess of things? So yeah.
Well, and that's so true. I mean, think about it when, you know, when we were kids. I mean, look at the difference between, you know, when our family pets when we were young versus now. I mean, my dog eats totally different than my family pets did when I was a child. Yeah. I mean, it was just a scoop of something in a bowl when I was a kid. You know, my dog Teddy, he eats better than me most days. He eats really well. You know, he's, you know, I feed a raw diet, which I know that's a very controversial, you know, and that there's a lot of people that agree with it and some people that don't, but he's been on a raw diet his whole, you know, time that I've had him. And, you know, he loves it, you know, and he's even picky about that. Ooh, boy, is he picky, but he loves his little raw food. But I mean, you know, my mom, the first time she took care of him, she's like, he eats what? And I'm like, oh, Mom. And I was explaining to her, but I mean, it's so different. I mean, the pet industry and how we take care of our animals and how we, you know, just how we take care of them. It's changed so much in the last 30 years, you know, it's just so different.
Yeah, I think that our ability, you know, for even taking care of ourselves, how we have evolved, you know, from, as you know, if you look at the way our parents looked at age, you know, 40, 50, is certainly not the way that we look now, because we're taking care of ourselves better. We have more things available to us. And I think that education is also there for our pets too, because we know so much more. So I'm excited to get Tanya in here and start talking about sustainability and pet industry and really what's next for us.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. That's a tongue twister, isn't it?
It is. You can't say that twice.
Right? There you go. So are you ready to bring Tanya in?
Yeah, let's bring her in.
All right, let's go get her.
Tanya, welcome to Pets or Family. It's so good to see you. And we were just commenting, it seems like you've got a beautiful screensaver right behind you. Gosh, we borrow that.
Well, I'd rather not have my fireplace on in the middle of, what are we, April now, going to May, but it is a very cold, wet, damp, dreary day in Seattle.
Oh, wow. So you're in Seattle. Okay. Wow.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you guys.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. So we are celebrating Earth Month this month. Of course, April is Earth Month. It's also, you know, there's Earth Day. But let's talk a little bit about your, you know, Augie Bones. Let's talk a little bit about Titan Bioplastics, the material engineering company for Augie Bones. And you just don't do it just once a month or a whole month. You're dedicated to sustainability and everything that Earth Month represents all year long, and you have been. Tell us about that.
Wow. I think, you know, I've spent 35 years in the wine industry, which I will love to my dying breath. It's always going to be a passion, but I really wanted to kind of take a lot of the years of expertise that I had in that and say, well, what can I do to make an impact somewhere else? And we chose the environment. I chose the environment mainly because it's something we've always been passionate about in our house. You know, we actually do the recycling. Me and my husband will actually drive down once a month with all the film packaging and drop it off to the recycler in person. You know, we're that kind of family. So started Titan Bioplastics, and you know, for a few years as a material engineering company, watching you know the industry grow, the corporate America grow, the consumer demand grow for more sustainability, especially around plastics. And our partners in Titan are very savvy polymer engineers, biopolymer engineers with a lot of experience. And so we started saying, hey, we're right here. You don't have to look any further. We're right here. Come to us. We can help you, you know, really support some changes in your manufacturing and new composite development. What is it that you're looking to do? We're here. And we certainly had a little bit of traction. But, you know, I woke up one day and I said, you know, we need to lead more by example. And we had adopted Augie during COVID. He's a COVID dog. And here I am buying him all these, you know, hard plastic, nylon chew toys. And I'm thinking, does this make sense that my dog is chewing on all these toys when we own a biopolymer company? So I talked to the gang at Titan Bioplastics, and I said, we need to make a dog chew toy for the pet industry and lead by example. And maybe other people will follow us. And, you know, now we can start a new trend in sustainable dog toys. So that's what we did. I started Augie Bone Toy Company last year with the idea that I really wanted to make an impact in the toy industry with biomaterial plant-based toys. And Titan Bioplastics are those material engineers that have, you know, driven that for us. So it's very exciting.
That's amazing. Tanya, for those of people who may not above their pay grade, polymers and things like that, what do all those things mean? And what does it mean plant-based? Are you grabbing grass and sticking it in a bone? How do you make, you know, what happens? And why, you know, what's so wrong with plastics? What's so wrong with nylon? If these are the things, because we were actually, before you came on, we were actually talking about, you know, things that we, like Jessica with, you know, an old sheepdog and different things from our, you know, our past and our childhood that we've evolved, the industry's evolved. Talk about that as well.
I guess the best way, I mean, there's a lot in that question, first of all. I mean, talking about biopolymers, I would rather say let's focus on the fact that we do plant-based materials. You know, maybe that's an easy way to understand it. We're a bioplastic. We're focusing on, you know, plant-based materials that go into the composite, you know, the formulation of what the bone is. And then we really hone in on what those mechanical characteristics need to be. As far as the industry as a whole goes, I think related to the pet industry, we're looking at, okay, you know, we're doing a lot for our dogs with food. When we first got Augie, for instance, you know, I'm there over the stove, slaving over 10 pounds of beef or turkey and putting the blueberries in and making sure I got all the right broccoli and the this and the that for my growing big 90-pound American Staffordshire. And every week I'd be like exhausted every weekend, you know, cooking for this dog because I cook a whole week's worth at once because he eats 4 pounds of food a day.
Oh my God.
I know. So then I'm thinking, okay, you know, this is very typical of a pet owner today. We spend extraordinary amounts of money on our pet food, and they have to be this nutrition and organic and really good and healthy. And we're wondering what goes into our dogs', you know, tummies every day. But we don't think about toys, and they chew on toys, and they're getting those microplastics in their bodies, and their lives are shortening. Every day we hear about how their lives are shortening. And I don't want Augie to live with me for a very long time. I don't want him to get sick. And so I just feel like not just Augie, but all dogs in general deserve a better toy to go along with their better food.
Yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about, you know, how, let's talk about the planet and the plastics and those kind of things as well. So what's happening to the planet when we're just throwing those bones out, or what happens then?
Well, I mean, we all know there's really only, you know, 3 ways to go here. It's like, one, you know, you're recycling, and it is so important to recycle. You know, we're only doing 28% of post-consumer recycling right now. That leaves a huge gap in what people can do every day to be conscious of where they throw their recyclable products. And there's so much that is recyclable. And we need that. We really, really need it. And the government's ready, I think, to jump in and say, how can we help support that evolution and that growth of the recycle market? The other is, of course, composting and industrial composting, which is going to be an add-on that's going to come into the recycle market. So they'll be able to recycle bioplastics, and then they'll also be able to ramp up how they're going to be doing industrial composting. So, you know, if you're making a plastic product today, it has to have an end of life. You know, you have to be able to say, I can recycle this. It can go in the recycle bin, because so much isn't right now. Nylon and plastic blends, which a lot of the toys are made of for pets, tough toys. Blends you can't recycle those blends. So either do it from a, you know, traditional plastic or nylon, but when you're combining the two, those just go to landfill. So it's all about eliminating the need to go to landfill and reducing the amount of virgin plastic that we're constantly reusing, bringing into the market. So if you cut off the supply of virgin plastic and then rely solely on bioplastics and recycled plastic, going back into the recycled system, then you have a closed loop program for, you know, for sustainability. And so at Titan, you know, we're here to support companies that need help in understanding how that material engineering needs to go for their existing manufacturing line. So rather than replace the whole line, let's just work with what you've got and reformulate the material, the plastic. Use a recycle, constantly be adding into your virgin, eliminating more and more virgin plastic and using more recycled plastic, or a completely, you know, bioplastic product. And so you look at what the global mandates are in United Nations right now, and they're calling for 25% of recycled plastics that companies have to be using by the year 2025. So it is an enormous initiative that companies are starting to pay attention to, because they have to. And if you think about the fact we're only using 28% of our consumer recyclate right now and having to purchase this from overseas, majority of it, you see what a long way we have to go for those companies to be able to even meet that 25%, because the demand is so high. And then I believe it increases every year incrementally, what that percentage, 25 to 30% to 40%, et cetera, with that end goal in mind to reduce that virgin and increase that recycle.
So Pets Are Family is about, you know, pet parents and educating pet parents. How do you think that you can help educate through Augie Bones or Titan? How can you educate pet parents on the things that they need to know? And what does a pet parent really need to know when they're looking at a dog chew toy? What are some things that you can talk to us about that from a pet parenting perspective?
Well, a pet parenting perspective. I guess Augie Bones' entire existence is because I'm a pet parent that wanted to give my dog a better toy, and with a better toy material. You know, I don't think anything's going to change overnight, but what we're hoping to do is be a rising tide that floats many boats, and be a, you know, this is possible. How can we help you accomplish the same? We want to raise a category. We don't want to be disruptive and be the only toy in the market and shut everybody else out. We're here to say you can do it. Titan is an example of a material engineering company that can help you get there. And how can Augie Bones lead by example? And so Augie Bones is really born out of, you know, how our toys need to chew on toys. As you can see, we make this as a tough chew toy. And so the ends and how he chews this, he's been gnawing on this for a couple of days. But, you know, it'll go down further than a typical toy, tough toy, a little further. But at the end of the day, it behaves very similarly to tough chew toys that are out there now. It's going to have the little flaky pieces, but if it gets into the dog, it's non-toxic. You know, it's not going to leave behind those toxic materials and microplastics and micro nylon that, you know, some of these other toys do.
And there's been, I think, so many health reports now that have come out about the different things and the microplastics that they're finding within the tummies of our dogs, or, you know, or cats, you know, that they can cause severe illness and different diseases. Do you know anything about that? Can you comment on that? Or
I can't. I mean, I'm not, in any way has to be able to do that. I can just tell you that we make these phones with, plant-based materials, that they are all individually harmless, and that we are constantly striving to make a better material product every day. And we'll come out with additional toys as part of the line as well. We've got some ideas of some things we can do, but I can tell you that when it comes to sustainability, you've got the consumer demand and what they're looking for. And in the last 2 years, products boasting sustainable packaging grew 789% in the pet industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Nielsen survey said 78% of US customers, pet industry customers, are all about sustainability. And then we had another statistic that was, consumers buy products with plastic-free packaging, and that percentage surged by 387%. So the demand, I think this is one of the first times you're really seeing a consumer demand, for sustainability. And obviously, this isn't just about, the toys they're putting in their mouth, but it's also about the packaging and everything else that comes with it. What can we do to make everything more efficient and sustainable?
Yeah. What about do the dogs like them? Does Augie like it?
Augie likes them, and his buddies
Okay.
like them. I've been giving them out for everybody to test. Sometimes they come back as nubs, and I'm like, oh my God, they really liked it, And then other times, we get them, I didn't like this flavor, but I like that flavor, But overall, they seem to like them. I mean,
You talked about, Tanya, about making a change in the pet industry. Can you talk about that change that you're hoping to see within the pet industry, and what does that mean to pet parents? So from a change perspective within changing the dynamics there.
Wow, that's such a big question, really. When you look at the fact that
All about big questions.
Yeah, it is all about big questions. And I can't sit here and answer for everybody or the entire industry. I can only give you my opinion, of which I have many, I will say that when you keep perspective of the fact that 70% of households today, which is 91 million homes in America, currently own a pet. So you're talking about an industry that is absolutely massive. And I think it boils down to you as individuals, as pet parents, we as individuals, as pet parents, and what we want, what's best for our dog, whether it's talking about food or their toys or anything else. And then supporting small companies, like an Augie Bones or other companies too, that are trying to work towards, better sustainable goals. And not make them, that outcast, but enfold them into, business and drive those forward so that other companies will follow. I think that's key, because we don't want to sit by ourselves. We want other companies to come in and go, we'll do this. We want to do this too, and make the category happen.
Questions for you. So tell us about Augie. You mentioned that you adopted him during COVID. He's your brand. He's on your packaging. Talk about Augie.
He's over there right now. I can see him. All right, so Augie is 90-pound American Staffordshire. We adopted him from Texas. They were backyard breeders. They had, I guess, he was one of the last puppies. He was sitting out front on a long chain around his neck, covered in mange with no water in Texas sun. I know, it's horrible. And Faith and Hope Rescue got him out of there, and they had him for a couple of months and cleaned him up, and then we adopted him. We're like, we got to help this dog. So anyway, he has a very miserable life. Just kidding. He sleeps on the bed. He sleeps on the sofa. He's spoiled. He's a big happy boy. He's very lovable. He's extremely sweet.
I want to know what dogs are not spoiled. I think we all spoil our dogs, and they're our family right now. They're part of our
family.
They're family. Tanya, if you could have a leave behind for our audience and for pet parents, what would that leave behind? What's one thing that you would want them to remember about Earth Month, about Augie Bones? What's one thing that you would like as a leave behind for them?
Well, if I can, I'll do two. One
Please
is
do.
one is of course recycle. And rocky bones can actually either be recycled or composted in some instances too. So, but recycle, be conscious about, how you treat your planet, but also be conscious about how you treat yourselves and your pets. Pets shouldn't be any different to what we would want to put in our bodies. We don't want them taking things into their bodies we wouldn't want to take in. We don't chew on things typically that have a lot of plastic, at least not intentionally. So it's about that intention. Let's not make them do what we wouldn't be willing to do. Yeah. And be healthy for them.
Can you go a little bit more into the composting for us? Just because, I mean, I grew up composting. My mother's people are from Maine, and that's what they did. I mean, you ate off the earth and you gave it right back. You know what I mean? So if it grows, I've eaten it. Let's just put it that way. So, you know what I mean? So composting is something I know well. And good friends of mine a lot of my friends are into composting. So I'm kind of curious about that because I've never heard of a toy that you can compost. So I'm I want to hear a little bit more if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No. I mean, we do a couple of different material innovations, and one of the material innovations we have for the toys is actually something that can be composted in the right micro environment, nutrient environment. So we always say maybe you can bury this bone in your backyard, and is it going to decompose in 60 days? No, it's a big heavy piece of material, but it will eventually decompose, and as opposed to most plastic that's around for 100,000 years. So and that's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but no, we try to make all, these are plant-based materials. So at the end of the day, they can be industrial composted, they could be recycled, and in certain instances, they can certainly go into a micronutrient environment and decompose.
Oh, that's way fascinating. Super cool. That's all I have to say. Super cool.
Yeah. Where we've gone within over the 10, 20, 30 years from when we've had pets, and now to see where our pets now are from a family perspective, from being taken care of, from healthy just like us. So I commend you, Tanya. What a beautiful thing that you've done for the pets and the planet, and it's such an honor to have you on here. Tanya, how can our pet parents find you? Where can they find you? How can they get a hold of Augie Bones? How can they get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Wow. Well, we have a website, augiebones.com. Kept it simple. Augie Bones is not selling direct to consumer right now, but we are gearing up for that because we're establishing our wholesale market today. And we're in the process of doing that as we just launched last month. So I see these bones being direct to consumer on our website within the next 6 months. And we're very excited. We're very excited about it. It's been an honor and a privilege to get to understand the pet industry and the passion. I don't know any other industry that has such passion and dedication to, something other than, in an industry as a pet, as dogs, cats, everything. We truly do love our pets as family. And clearly this industry has just got so much more to give to our pets.
Are you going to have mind you, and I'm trying to keep my hands in there, as I always do, so that way it doesn't disappear. But, obviously you have a large dog, 95 pounds. Yeah, I have the opposite of you. I have not quite the pocket dog, but he, because he's a little bit larger than a pocket dog. I've got the 20-pound Shih Tzu. He should be a pocket dog, but I've got the overgrown one. But are you going to make it in different sizes for all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have been more concise about that.
I just wanted to ask because, my Tedders loves to chew on things, you know what I mean? And then he spits it out. And then usually I have a cat named Bin Laden. And the cat, yeah, I do. I should admit that I have a cat named Bin Laden, and my cat Bin Laden acts more like the dog than my dog does. So he will pick up the bones and actually chew on them. He's really bad. Oh, wow. So yeah. So I'm just curious, are you going to make them in different sizes for all size animals?
Yeah, we already do. We have a tiny for the little tiny, pocket dogs. We have a small And then we have a medium, a large, and the large is what we call the BAB. It's a big ass bone. It's like 9.5 inches long, and it's big. So we'll have those, and we're also doing a senior and puppy chew toy. So for dogs that are seniors that have bad gums but still want to chew on something, we have one of those we're going to release as well.
Nice. That's actually really smart, because there's a lot of dogs that do they want to gum something.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like grandpa, let me spit out my teeth, and they eat that peanut butter fluff sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know? Sorry, but
that's a gum on that's not going to hurt their gums while they chew, but
yeah, that's what my grandpa used to do with us.
It's like you talk from experience like that when you're doing that. I don't know. I have no idea, but I think that's I'm concerned about this now. I have to say this.
Did I not tell you that my mother's people came from Maine? No offense to anybody that's listening from Maine, but my mother's people came from the backwoods. As you can tell, my great grandfather would do that with us kids. Spit out his teeth,
spit
and spit out his teeth, and he would gum a peanut butter fluff sandwich with us kids. You know what I mean? So, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. What about the flavors, Tanya? You have different sizes. You said tiny, small, medium, and a big ass bone. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, big ass bone.
What are the flavors?
We have bacon, beef, and right now we have turkey cheese, but we're taking consensus if we move that into peanut butter, because Augie loves peanut butter. And we actually compound the flavor all the way through the bone, so it's not just on the surface. That's a Titan thing. Yeah.
Not just a coating then.
Not just a coating, it's all the way through the bone.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Tanya, you guys, so I believe you all are part of like different initiatives. You've won some awards. You've been some part of some different beautiful groups. So, you know, congratulations to you on everything that you've done. April, we're talking about sustainability, and we thought of no one better than you and Augie Bones. And just thank you for being here with Jessica and I on this Pets Are Family podcast. We appreciate you. We're going to have links to your website and to you that our audience has any questions on where they can find the bones, more questions about sustainability, plant-based, or the website itself. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much too. It's been really an honor and a privilege again to be here, and I appreciate you asking me. And you know, when it comes to innovation and what you think your next product might be, and you're already in the marketplace, you know, think of Titan Bioplastics as material engineers to support your next evolution towards that sustainable product.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Thanks. Have a great day.
Wow. I mean, we've had some incredible guests on the air with us, but that's exciting what she's doing, and sustainability, and really being the very first dog chew toy that's non-toxic and sustainable, and also talking about really what's going on with the health of our dogs. And you know,
I thought it was kind of cool that it was compostable. I mean, because you don't hear that very often. You saw how I just kind of like, it's compostable. Wait a minute. Let's stop there right there. I didn't even want to go any further, because I was like, let's talk about that for a moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can bury it in the backyard, and I guess it's compostable. And then she's got one that's recyclable, and so, you know, helping that environment. But you know a lot about compost, Jessica. I mean, I want to know more about your affinity, of composting.
You know, I blame that on my mother. My mom, you know, my mom's people. Once again, that's my mother's upbringing in Maine. I'm throwing the love again back out to my Maine people. You know, I've got to, you know, I'm constantly telling you guys I love my Maine people, but my mother's people up there in that Maine, those people live off the earth, for the earth, and with the earth. You know, so. Yeah, I learned how to compost at a very, very young age, you know, so, and, you know, as you know, and I'm just going to say this, she's going to be on the show soon. My girlfriend, Jennifer, she composts, and she's here in the Illinois region, and she composts here. So, you know, she rekindled my love for composting.
Well, and I think for the environment, I mean, you know, this is about education for pet parents, that what can we do? And those tips that we can give, and that what are we leaving behind for our kids? What are we leaving behind for the next generation? If we keep operating in the same manner that we're operating in, is there going to be anything left for them? I mean, there's a lot to think about that from a standpoint of sustainability. And people think, oh, it's Earth Day, it's Earth Month, but these are organizations and companies that are doing this year round. And what are some things that we can do from a year round standpoint? And I can't wait to talk to Jennifer about that too, about as pet parents, what can pet parents do to really help the environment? And, that's going to be interesting.
It is. And the other thing too that, Tanya brought up that I found fascinating and I really enjoyed, and I can't wait to get Teddy one of her bones, really can't, because I love the fact that she said that the flavoring isn't just coated on the top, it's actually all the way through. Because if you think about it, a lot of these toys, chews are just flavored on the top. And what happens is when they get through the top and they get through that first layer or two, they're done with it. And so you got a half chewed anything. And then they're like, yeah, I'm done. And as we all know, I have a cat named Bin Laden. And then Bin Laden, for some reason, thinks he's part dog. You know what I mean? He picks it up and starts chewing on it for a little while. And then he realizes it doesn't taste good anymore either. So then I just throw it away. But I love the fact that it actually, the flavoring is all the way to the core.
Right, right.
Yeah. No, I was going to say it keeps them interested into it to the core, which is
right.
Great. I love that about it.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
You mentioned it's compounded through and through. And so when the dog chews into that bone, that it continues to chew to try to get that flavoring. And you're right. I mean, there's so many toys out there and whatever bones or chew toys out there that they get that first initial lick or taste, and then that taste goes away. And so you spent what, 23, 25, whatever amount of money it is, and those toys are just gone, or they're breaking down, with your tough chewers. Like, you've got, even Chihuahuas are tough chewers. So having that, I also like the fact that she talked about that, like a soft chew toy too. She's got something that's a soft one for puppies and seniors. And that because, as dogs get older, the teeth portion of it, their teeth go away and they can't really gnaw on that. So you
got to do that every time you do that. I just think
for a minute while I take my teeth out. I don't know.
I just think of my great grandfather. God rest his soul. He was one of my.
I'm moving my glass into my mouth right now. I can't believe it.
Great Grandpa Eastler. I know if that's like any of my family that watches this, I'm telling you right now, any of the Burton family that watches this, and God love all my family members in Maine. I'm just telling you right now, but any of my great family that my great Grandpa Eastler was that like the old crotchety old man in the corner, but he loved us grandkids. But I'm not kidding you when I say he ate those fluff and others. It was peanut butter and fluff sandwiches, and he would sit down, he would spit out his teeth, and he would just sit there and gnaw on that peanut butter sandwich with us. It was peanut butter, and fluff. Not let me just put it this way: just email me, and I will give you the secret recipe for that sandwich. But I'm telling you, every time you see the seniors and gnawing on that bone,
what's that recipe? I think we've all got stories about that. I remember my dad, who's no longer with us, but he used to take his teeth out and we'd find him in the couch and he's like, oh, what's that?
I am so sorry when she said that to us early. Honestly, I could just see a senior dog just walking up with his paw and going, poof, spitting out his teeth, grabbing his paw, just getting the bone and just it's so horrible why my brain went there, but I'm telling you, I don't know. It's bad.
We're always going to share who we are, our stories, our families, everything about us, because we're creating a relationship with this, and you're going to get to know us and love us, and you're going to want us to like be on your screens every day. And
I'm telling you, man, just I love my great Grandpa Eastler, but I mean, God rest his soul and God bless him. I mean, he still makes me laugh to this day,
I love it. I love it. As they should. Jessica, this has been awesome. Who's our next guest? You know, we got some great people coming up here, and I'm excited because, as we mentioned last time, you know, we had originally thought that we were going to do these like, you know, twice a month or whatever, and we've had so many people reach out to us, and the content and just things that you need to know as pet parents, and really understanding information, that beautiful information, and that we want to provide to you. We want to educate you. That's our goal, as well as have fun and, you know, no teeth, whatever in the process.
You're going to see that. I mean, everybody's just going to think of me every time. They're just going to be like, so, I believe we're going to try to get Miss Jennifer Blaze on next week. And that's going to be a special episode. Jennifer Blaze is one of my best friends, and she is known as the poop.
It's your best friend. I'm not your best friend.
Well, you're one of my best friends. She's one of my besties too, you know? So she's one of my besties. She's known as the poop bag girl. She's been one of my besties for a long, long time. So yeah, we're going to try to get her on as a special episode because April is Earth Month, and she has one of the only poop bag bags that is landfill biodegradable. So I want to get her on super bad. I've just got to nail her down because April is her busiest month. So, and I don't want to tell you what big birthday she had because, you know, us girls don't like to talk about our weight and our age, but she just had we don't like to talk about that, but she just had a big birthday, and I'm trying to get the family away from her so that way we can get her on the podcast. So, but I'm
excited to talk to her.
I really am. I'm super excited.
Good. It's wrapping up Sustainability Month, and then we've got so many great things for you guys coming up here. I mean, from photography to dog park safety to, I think we're going to be talking to Lauren Darr and Zachary Tinkles. There's so much fun stuff. We're going to talk to Caitlin Brown, who has Sparkles and Sunshine. She's got this really cool and teaching pet parents about being, you know, if you want to make some extra income, things that you can do. So, yeah.
Right. You know, I want to get a couple of my girlfriends on that travel with their pets, you know, there's a lot of people that we want to talk to, and we want to share all kinds of fun stuff, you know. So also, you know what, if there's somebody that you think that we should talk to, you know, feel free to email either Trisha or I, you know what I mean? And, you know, or Facebook message us, whatever you want to do, because there's a lot of people that we want to talk to. But if there's somebody you want us to talk to, feel free, except for you, Dad. My dad, Leroy, stay away. We're not going to talk. You know, I talk to you every day, you know. I mean, my dad will be the first person to be like, I want to talk to you. So, yeah, you know, my dad would talk to us about anything. So
if you want to talk to us and think that you've got something to share, we want to talk to you too, because we talk to pet parents all the time. So again, thank you guys for joining us. We just had such a great time today, and thanks for letting us come into your life and your homes and on your screens. We appreciate you.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. Bye. Mwah. We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to us today. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to find us on petsourfamily.net or any of our social channels, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And we want to remind you, pets are family. Have a good one. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.